Aztecs football with a chance to level up the record this week on the road against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Good day to you and welcome to another edition of Aztecs All In, as in All In on San Diego State University Aztecs Athletics. I'm Steve Perez, and we say hello to our friendly and reliable co-host, Louis Weiner.
Hello, Steve. Hoping the Aztecs are well rested after that bye week.
In this episode, we hear from football coach Sean Lewis on this week's opponent and his approach to the key quarterback position on his team.
So you thought the conference saga was over? Oh man, no. It's really just beginning again.
And not only does men's basketball coach Brian Dutcher join later to hold forth on the Aztecs' future membership in the Pac-12, but Coach Lewis circles back to fill us in on the personal price paid by the team for those 15-yard penalties 2 Saturdays ago against UC Berkeley. So let's get right to it, Lewis. After the brief pause, Aztecs football once again hits the road. This one to the Midwest for a bout in Mount Pleasant against Central Michigan. The Chippewas are of the Mid-America Conference and fresh off a win over conference foe Ball State. They've been in a bit of an offensive funk since scoring 45 in the season opener against an FCS foe. You remember them, don't you, Lewis? Texas A&M Commerce. Since then, it was 0-0 in a home loss to Oregon State, and last time out, tallying just 10, giving up 31 in the loss to Cal. This game's set for 12:30 Pacific on CBS Sports Network. These two teams have played in the past, but it seems like half a lifetime away when the Aztecs defeated them in the New Mexico Bowl in 2020 by a score of 48-11. Aztecs are 2-0 lifetime against Central Michigan, but this team coming off a dramatic 37-34 comeback win against Ball State. The squad has an experienced QB in Joe Labus, 6'4", 210, who Coach Lou recruited in a previous job. He's played in all 4 games for the 2-2 Chips, averaging a little over 200 yards passing a game. They also have a more mobile QB who appeared last game, Bert Emanuel Jr., 6'3", 235. He ran for a TD, threw for another. Here's Coach Lewis on the challenge ahead.
Obviously, they're coming off a really big win. They've won 6 out of the last 7 at home. They know how to protect their home turf and found a way to win this past week. Dangerous team that can do it both through the air and on the ground. So we got to do a great job on our end preparing, to go win and handling our day-to-day process the right way. They're well coached. Coach McElwain and his staff do a really good job. They have really talented kids in all 3 phases of the game, and they have dangerous returners. They have dangerous, explosive playmakers offensively, and they have a very sound scheme defensively. And people that if you give them a chance, again like that pick 6, week 1, again they're opportunistic. They get their hands on it, and they're able to change the course of the game that way. Joey Labus is a kid out of Ohio that I was actually one of his first early offers, in a former lifetime ago, and he ended up going out to Iowa and now transferring back. Like he's the straw that really stirs the drink for them, right? A lot of their run game has RPO concepts that are built into it. He's a good decision maker, and is putting them in a good position to be successful. And again, they're a very balanced attack in that regard, right?
The Aztecs, for their part of the QB position, have Danny O'Neal taking the snaps in practice and being the guy once again this week after missing the Cal game. But it depends on how he holds up. Javance Tupuatu Johnson had the ball against Cal. He was serviceable and durable. 13 of 29, 156 yards, but 2 interceptions. To my eye, O'Neal's ability to read defenses, get the ball out quicker, is one of the primary reasons he is number 1 at this point. And in the mind of Coach Lewis, he's hoping O'Neal can stay in the game. He's not the kind of coach who enjoys switching up QBs to play one for the sake of trying to play up one QB's strengths over another.
Danny's been getting good work, and again, he's been able to maximize the bye week to continue to get healthy. Javance continues to get good reps, and those 2 guys are continuing to, go back and forth with it all, and we'll see whoever gives us the best chance to win, at the end of the week will be the guy who gets to start. Danny's got to show that he's healthy and that he's able and capable to be able to do it, and then he gives us the best position to win with where he's at. And then again, Javance knows that he's a snap away, right? The same way that he was, and able to step up and respond. But again, both those guys are more than capable to do it, and they both have to prepare as if they're going to be the man as we go forward here. we're going to be loyal to winning and what it takes to win. If it takes two, we'll play both of them as we go with all of it. I would prefer not to because, again, I think as you look around the landscape of college football right now, those teams that are trying to mix and match and play with multiple guys, it's hard for either one of them to get into a rhythm. It's hard for the team to rally around behind one of those leaders, and who's that going to be, right? But again, like at the end of the day, whether it's, the number of quarterbacks you're playing, it's the style of play that you're playing, right? At the end of the day, we owe it to this class, this team right now in 2024 to put us in position to win each and every time that we go out because of, again, the way that we're handling our business throughout the course of the week, our attention to detail, and the culture that we're creating, that we're building day after day after day.
The Chippewas also sport a strong running attack, averaging 192 yards a game, 5.9 per attempt. Their leading ball carrier, B.J. Harrison, with 232 yards and 24 carries. 4 others, though, have logged similar attempts, though not as much yardage. According to Coach Lou, the running game depends on their experienced offensive line.
They returned 3 out of their 5 starters from last year, and they've really settled in nicely together as a unit. They're an physically imposing group up front, right? 4 out of the 5 are over 300 pounds.
And me thinks the Aztecs will once again be trying to rely on their offensive line to overcome the penalty bug in order to assist in controlling the line of scrimmage and the ball on the road and take advantage of the talents of Marquez Cooper. Coop knows the conference foes well, having carried the rock for Ball State and Kent State prior to joining the Aztecs. He remains the leading active rusher in the FBS. Barring injury, he certainly will look to see the bulk of the carries as he has in the Aztecs' last 3 games. Among active ball carriers in the FBS, Cooper is 3rd in rushing yards per game with 93.8. He is 8th overall per game this year. And can't help but note, there's a kid from Boise State, Ashton Genty, who is ahead on both counts. Back to those penalties, particularly on offense and the offensive line. Coach Lewis says it's all about executing the fundamentals in practice in order to perform well in game situations.
Yeah, everything that we do each day is about our culture and the discipline that we want to have in it and how we go about our approach, right? And so obviously the execution of what we've been doing and the end result of the amount of flags that are on the field is not what anyone wants to have, right? And so every single day, how we go about our business, our attention to detail, the relentless focus, the relentless effort that we want to have is being emphasized each and every single day, right? And again, as we build this culture and we do it the right way to our standard and our model, right, then those the execution and the end results of those penalties will go down. We've been doing up downs, so that Sunday after we came back from Cal, as a team, collectively, myself and some of the other coaches as well, for all the 15-yard penalties, we banged out some up downs in that regard, just as some good accountability. But we stressed from day one, way back in January, right, about accountability, about having discipline. And again, we'll continue to stress those things so we can tighten those things up and obviously not shoot ourselves in the foot, right? Because good teams don't beat themselves. And right now there's obviously too many errors, and that's on me. And we need to continue to stress how we're building our culture, the attention to detail that we need to have with it. But again, the energy, the enthusiasm, the way the guys have responded from those challenges, they know what they need to clean up and how they need to fix it. They've taken ownership of it as well, and I know that we'll continue to get better with that as we go forward.
Steve, the San Diego State defense has played well in spurts, but isn't showing enough consistency. Aside from the Texas A&M Commerce game, where they held that team to just 180 yards in total offense, it's been a tale of 2 halves for the Aztecs defense. They played really well in the first half against Oregon State, giving up just 7 points, but they gave up 14 in the fourth quarter. And against Cal, same thing. Golden Bears scored just 7 in the first half, but exploded for 24 in the second half. While the Aztecs have struggled stopping the run, they rank 109th in the nation in run defense out of 133 schools, giving up 192 yards a game. They've been pretty good against the pass, ranking 33rd in the nation, giving up just 166 yards a game. But a lot of those completions are going for big yards, with the Aztecs ranked 108th in passing yards per completion at more than 10 yards per pass completion. That has to change. One reason the Aztecs have been having success against the pass is the defensive line. Defensive end Trey White is off to a great start this season with 15 tackles so far, which is second on the team, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks, good enough for 12th in the nation. After practice this week, I got the chance to chat with Trey about the season so far. How'd practice go today? How's it looking for Saturday?
I felt like it went really well. We've been focused on stacking days and being more consistent with our practices. I think we've been doing that since the bye weekend, starting today as well.
So what did you get out of the bye week? What kind of practices did you have? What did you do in your free time? How did you make it work for you?
I feel like the execution was still the same, if not higher. And we kind of took a little bit of time to relax and rest our bodies and get ready for Central Michigan coming up.
Talk about the defensive line play so far and what Coach Los is focusing on, and what has things changed from game 1 so far to game 3?
The D-line play has been pretty good, but I feel like we can get so much better with our pass rush and run defense as well. So Coach Lose and Coach Orich have really been emphasizing our striking and things like that. So I think we're just getting better and better each week. So I'm excited for this group.
So you've got 3 sacks so far. You're second in the team in tackles. What do you attribute your success so far this season, and how did what you went through last year with the previous regime help you with this so far?
Yeah, last year I got some good playing experience under Coach Maddox and Coach Hoke, so they definitely prepared me for this. And also Coach Orich has been getting me really right with my pass rush stuff, which I haven't really been doing much. So it's been really good to get back in the groove of that.
What are you guys looking to achieve? Obviously, you want to beat Central Michigan. And what is the focus on the defense right now? How can you guys get even better?
I feel like our run defense can get so much better, but overall, we just need to keep on hustling to the ball, 11 hands to the ball, and work on our tackling, and I feel like we'll be just fine.
Another defensive player having great success during this young season is linebacker Tano Latuli, who leads the Aztecs in tackles with 19, in addition to a sack, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Steve, I didn't know this, but Tano and Trey go way back.
Tano's, I've known him since I was 5 years old, so we've always got that good chemistry since kindergarten. So it's really been a blessing to play with him, and I just love making plays with him. So.
Talk a little bit about that. I didn't know that. Where did you guys grow up together, and were you on teams together growing up?
Yeah, we grew up in Eastlake, and we were on the same youth football team, kind of split up in high school, and now we're back together, so it's been really fun.
So being back together, does it bring back old memories, that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Once we got here together, we had to take it in a little bit, but now it's just time to work and make some plays.
Remember, Steve, this is a very young defense and will only get better as the season progresses. 10 of the 11 starters on defense in the opener against Texas A&M Commerce were making their first career start. And the only player with starting experience was Trey White with a whopping 1 game under his belt. But Steve, the Aztecs have been pretty stingy giving up points. This year, they're giving up just 22 points a game. That's good enough for 63rd in the nation, and that's a trend that's carrying over from previous coaching staffs. Over the last 63 games the Aztecs have played, they've given up just under 20 points a game.
Well, Lewis, from this vantage point, it's still a pretty big ask for a team with so many new moving parts to roll against a MAC team just because the Aztecs have done it in the past. But you would at least expect a more competitive game this time around with a little more scoring by the Aztecs offense after being throttled on offense and worn down on defense against their last 2 foes. I'd say the chances of the Aztecs getting back to 500 are about that against the Chippewas on the road, 50-50.
Steve, so the conference shenanigans show no signs of ending anytime soon. So, of course, we know San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, and Colorado State are joining the old Pac-12 with Washington State and Oregon State, but that is just 6. Of course, they need 8 to play football when they start playing in July of 2026, so they need 2 more. So what the Pac-12 was trying to do was go across the country to the AAC and get those teams to come play in the Pac-12. That would be Memphis, Tulane, Texas San Antonio, and USF. So the Pac-12 waited with bated breath until Tuesday morning when they got word from the AAC, no, they would not join the Pac-12. So it was back to the drawing board for the Pac-12, which now had to focus on some of the remaining Mountain West teams. So it looks like the focus was going to be on UNLV, perhaps Air Force, but wait, Gloria Navarez, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, saw what was going on, and she quickly tried to get the remaining 8 members of her conference to sign an agreement to stay together. That was contingent on all 8 signing. Well, they got 7, including UNLV. But at the last minute, Utah State said no, and instead joined the Pac-12, becoming the 7th member of the Pac-12. So what that meant all of a sudden was the Mountain West Conference agreement that the 7 just signed was invalid because it was based on all 8 teams staying. So while the Pac-12 now awaits word from UNLV, there was another twist. The Pac-12 sued the Mountain West Conference, arguing that the tens of millions it owes the Mountain West in poaching fees due to a prior scheduling agreement amounts to antitrust violations. So now it's all back in court. Late this afternoon, Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez released a statement saying in part, quote, "The Pac-12 has taken advantage of our willingness to help them and enter into a scheduling agreement with full acknowledgement and legal understanding of their obligations. Now that they have carried out their plan to recruit certain Mountain West schools, they want to walk back what they legally agreed to. There has to be a consequence to these types of actions," unquote. We're still waiting to hear what UNLV is going to do. What is Air Force going to do? What happens to the remaining members of the Mountain West Conference? Will the Mountain West Conference remain a conference? Nobody knows. We all just have to wait. But Steve, one thing is for sure that we do know is that the lawyers will be paid.
Don't look now, Lewis, but men's basketball season fast approaching with practice starting this week. There's an exhibition game coming up next month against Cal State San Marcos, and out-of-conference play officially starts at home November 6th with UC San Diego. Coach Brian Dutcher looking forward to the new schedule, which includes an expanded 20-game conference matchup and some exciting new possibilities in the lineup. But the media on Monday was curious about his take on the Aztecs' impending membership in the Pac-12 in 2 years. Dutch says, great, all for it. But he still likes the idea of being part of a regional conference setup. If anyone has to travel across country, he says, let's keep it to football.
I always said we're a Power 5 school. I don't care what conference we're in. But with that being said, I'm excited with the move to the Pac-12. I think be new opportunity, new conference, new exciting opportunities for all of us. And now we got to see who else we're going to add. And as a coach, I'm worried about tomorrow's practice, and we don't join for 2 years. So we've got 2 more years in the Mountain West, competitive Mountain West, and we'll keep an eye on the future, but we'll be preparing for the present.
Do you feel any interest peripherally from players and fans and boosters and stuff?
I think it's exciting for the fans and the boosters. We're not going to change our model. We're going to recruit the way we recruit. I don't think it's going to change a thing for us. We get top-level talent. We get guys that want to win. Obviously, going to the national championship game a couple of years ago has kind of cemented what we're doing, and now we have to have that as a goal to get back there someday. So we're preparing like that, recruiting like that, and we'll be excited to do it in the Pac-12 in 2 years. I've talked to JD a little bit, about what teams are in discussion. But I really don't have any input in it. I'm just excited by the new opportunity, and whoever they add, they'll add in the best interest of all of us.
In the past, though, you've said that you prefer geographic conferences that are based on, the same time zones in the same general areas. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I feel that way. Yeah, I'd like to stay regionally. I think a long time ago they should have just let football go do football and everybody else stay regional. And I still believe that. I think there'll be some sanity at some point down the road where these old Pac-12 schools that left will find out it's easier to stay regional. And so I think the model is the model now, and it'll be this way for a couple of years. But I think sanity will rein us all back in, and it only makes sense to play regional for all the sports, maybe with the exception of football.
I know, Lewis. I've been hankering, like most followers of Aztec basketball, for a true 7-footer in the program. They seem to have that in redshirt freshman Magoon Guath, who some talk about being a one-and-done. But at this point, still interested in seeing how the rest of this first season of Aztecs fast shakes out. Pick up a win here and there, and then with 8 games left, who knows, eh? Finally, Lewis, just a brief invitation for you to join in on, I don't know, how about 45 up and downs. That's the old school name for burpees. You hit that turf, extend those legs out, gather them back again under yourself, then you bounce up, repeat. Why do I have such an interest in your personal health? Well, it seems everyone around can use a little bit more physical activity, huh? Instead of just sitting on the couch all weekend, barking at real athletes for giving it a go with 11 guys on the other side doing their level best to beat them up. But it's one of those things Coach Lou promised members of this squad would do with him after the penalties last game, particularly those unsportsmanlike ones that set the Aztecs back 15 yards.
3 sets of 15. There was 3 15-yard penalties that go against our standard and our culture. So we did 3 sets of 15, knocked them out. We were all better for it, and away we go.
Any video on that? The old tight
I mean, hey, if that's the content we're looking for right now, guys, man, we got to play a heck of a lot better ball, and I need to coach a heck of a lot better.
And are the penalties against the culture the personal fouls? Or which ones dictate it's going to be up downs on
the controllables, the ones that are controllables, yeah. The personal foul, absolutely. That's not who we're going to be. We're going to represent this university in a first-class manner to everyone that's associated with it, the former players, the community, the alumni. Everyone can look to it and be proud with the colors that they're wearing, the way that they represent, and they're a part of this family. That for sure will never be tolerated, will never be accepted. That's not who we are, and it's not what we're building.
So you hear that, Lewis? In the words of the immortal Douglas C. Niedermeyer.
Drop and give me 20.
But here the magic number is 45, Lewis, so I'm sure you're getting right on it, right?
So, Steve, 45 up and downs? I can do that this weekend on the couch, 45 times up and down to my refrigerator, get some snacks, something to drink, while I sit in my duff and watch football all weekend. And that'll do it for this edition of Aztecs All In. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com or follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. So until after the Central Michigan game against San Diego State this Saturday, for Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. So long.